Hello and welcome to the Transforming Ideas to Innovation video series. In this video, we will start by looking at how to unbox your Arduino kit. This is the first video in the series, and in this video we will look at different types of sensors and components that you will find in your kit. This is a kit that we brought. It is probably going to be similar or with some modifications from the one that you will buy. The kit has different components, from wires to the actual microcontroller to different types of sensors and breadboards. We will go in detail and look at them one by one. So I'll put this aside and we will start looking at the components individually. The main component in your kit is the actual Arduino Uno. The Arduino Uno is the microcontroller you will be using in this class. The controller actually has different parts. The microcontroller sits in the center, which is the brain. On the edges, you have different pins. Those pins are used for input and output. On this side, we have all the digital pins, along with some power pins. On the other side, we have analog input pins and power pins on the other side. There is a connection for USB, which is usually used to communicate with the computer, and the power connection, which is usually used to power your Arduino. Let's put this aside. The next component we will look at is your breadboard. Your breadboard is the second most important component in here. You will be using it to connect the different components together. How to connect the components together is going to be done through wires. You're going to find different colors of wires, different sizes of wires. The colors help you create like a color code, so that, for example, power would be in red and black. Inputs can be a different color, output would be a different color. That makes it much easier for you later on to debug the circuit and find any mistakes. Other components that you will find in the circuit are a battery connection, and you can buy an extra battery as well. This battery connection, part of it connects to a 9-volt battery, which is a perfect way to power your Arduino. And the other part is a battery jack, which connects directly to the Arduino in here. Other common components that we'll be using in your project are LEDs. LEDs are light emitting diodes. Those are used mainly to produce a light signal. Usually, for example, if you're creating a project, if the door opens, the light would turn on, or if something happens and you need a warning, for example, you can flash a red light or something like that. When connecting most of the components, you will be using resistors. Resistors are used to limit the amount of current that will go through the circuit and through your components. There are different values. For example, here, those are 10K, which means 10 kilo ohm resistors. Other values such as those are 220, which means 220 ohm. And the different values will dictate the amount of current that will go through the circuit. Different types of resistors are also available. This is a variable resistor. It's a 3-pin resistor. It's called a potentiometer as well. It's mainly like the same idea that you use when you're changing the volume in your car or changing the light in a light dimmer, for example, at home or something like that. A push button is also a common device. Push button usually comes in this state. It connects two of the pins together simply by clicking. You can add this nice red cap just to make it look nicer. Different types of sensors. Some of the most common sensors that we'll be using, this tiny guy, it's very hard to kind of view, but it's a light dependent resistor. So it produces different value of resistance depending on the amount of light it's seeing. So it's sensitive to light. So it's used as a light sensor. Temperature sensors such as this LM35 is one common sensor that we'll be using in our lab and in our projects. It's used to measure the temperature. Some other common components that we will look at, such as, for example, motors. In this kit we have two different types of motors. This is a stepper motor. Stepper motor is used as an actuator. So you provide an electrical signal to it and it would start moving. You can control the speed and the location of the movement. There are other types of motors that we can see in here, such as this servo motor. We'll take it out of the pack. This servo motor has actually a gearbox inside of it. If you can see closely inside here, it has a gearbox inside of it. Again, you provide an electric signal to it from the Arduino and you can control the rotation of the output. So you can open a door or close a door with it or something like that. There are some advanced sensors. We'll look at a couple. For example, in here we have an RFID and an RFID tag. I'll open the pack so I can show you. So this is an RFID tag, just like your student ID. And this is the RFID reader. So when you come into school or when you're leaving school, you simply tap this on this and it detects that you entered the university or exited, so forth. So those are more advanced sensors that you probably can use in your project. Also look at a couple of more. This is a relay. A relay, it's more like a switch controller. It allows you to connect high voltage devices together and control it. So for example, if you want to control when the TV will turn on and close, or when you want to turn off your refrigerator or something like that, you can use the relay, connect it to high power, high voltage, and then you use the microcontroller in here to control when it turns on and turns off. So your microcontroller would be the switch in this case. Of course, all of you will gonna be using a USB cable to mainly connect to the computer from your Arduino so you can program the Arduino. There are many sensors in this kit, so I'll just go through the basics. This is a very common one, which is an LCD screen. And the LCD screen, you mainly connect the screen to your microcontroller and then you can display different messages. For example, like the LCD screen you see on some of the refrigerators or microwave or anywhere in the car or something like that. So this is a really nice output device that you can use in your projects. Anyways, as I said, there are many more, but this is just an introduction to some of the products that we have in this kit. If you are unsure of a specific device and you want to know how it works, the best way to do is to look at the data sheet of the product. So if you look at the product itself, each product is going to have a number and a name and a manufacturer. And if you just look at it, Google it, and you will find all the information that you need. That's the best way to find how things work. Okay, we will see you in the next video. In the next video, we will look at how to connect some of those components together using breadboard, some resistors, LEDs, and your microcontroller so we can get a functioning, working project. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next video.